underdogs with overwhelmingly positive community support.
For sure, yeah.
And now I kind of feel like a random person could tweet at him before a match and they would lose. It's like, hey, I don't think you guys are going to do great. What did I do to you? I feel like they're in a very different mental place. And that could be from the pressure of trying to repeat performances over and over again. The format changing, not having that guaranteed success. And it's some of the bullshit of being a competitor. Fans are, it really does be your own sometimes. The people who support you and claim that they're always going to be your fans, the second they see a funny meme, they turn into me and they have like no chill. And that's got to be tough. I mean, imagine from going through that scenario, for having all that support, and then the same people that had the OG tag on Reddit are like, you know what? Like, I think they smell like poop now. It's like, what the heck? Random Redditor 42069. How did you betray me? E2?
Yeah, and especially in a region like Europe where you have so many favorites. You know, you could be an Enigma fan, an OG fan, and even though you're in Europe and you should be rooting for your region as a whole, people are still very cutthroat. Meanwhile, Southeast Asia, they're just hoping to get one team to TI right now, maybe two teams to TI. Execrations are probably second best option. T1's their best contender right now because T1 was able to show up to Major 1, get points in Season 1. TNC would be a long shot, but if that happens, that would be great. But like you said, it'd be your own man sometime.
Well, that's the thing. Most, I don't think people say this very often, most esports fans aren't fans of teams. They're fans of hating. And when they get the opportunity to get a bunch of likes on a stupid meme that makes fun of a team, it doesn't matter if it's the team that they've cheered for 30 years, they're going to stab them in the back. Yeah. And that's just the internet in general. I do it all the time. I'm going to make jokes here today that are going to, like, you know what I mean? I think it's fine. That's part of the fun of being an esports fan. But for a team, that's very hard, especially when it's not what you're used to. And I think that, you know, OG is a team that can easily bounce back if they get to TI. It's going to be a hard road, but I think that they easily bounce back because all of those alien elements that have been thrown at you, when you have a new format, they're gone. You're at TI, it feels like TI, you feel like you're at home, you get in the zone, you let everything else take over. I think they're obviously a team that you have to take seriously in that regard.
That's why I like these fan supporter bundles.
There you go.
I think that's a step in the right direction of fostering happiness and true passion for this thing.
People just buy them for the meme.
I don't know, there's this one team, Arkosh. Are you familiar with Arkosh?
Bunch of nobodies, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're Division 1 now. Put some respect on that.
They're going to lose every game.
I wouldn't be too sure about that. I've been rooting for them since day one. Possibly like day negative one, I think.
Definitely an awesome fan pack, though.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
That's the kind of stuff that
those fan packs are such proof that, like, the teams that you buy are the ones with the funny voice lines and the ones you can use to shit talk. And I think the part you're talking about with, like, the way the fans work, I think OG's charm and, like, almost the part that kept them from looking human was all that BS never seemed to actually bother them. I felt like that was a big part of the reason they won TI was they were so distracted by all the things that they were thinking about as a team and in game, and like even just tipping and emoting the other team, that all this outside noise was never a problem. And suddenly you see them. This is the reason why I'm concerned about them this year more than like I don't want to spin the web that like, oh, they're gonna come back and repeat TI even if they are going. They look in shambles mentally in the Twitter game, which for them, like a lot of teams, that wouldn't be a big deal, right? But all TI is who gets rattled the least
by
Instagram.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Which is a shame because I would love to see.
Well, it was like the opposite side of that, where they like took all the noise, but like used it as fuel, right? And that just doesn't feel like that anymore.
Now it's like, in my analogy, just based off of like streaming and doing content creation, they're the type of content creator that scrolls through their comments and finds the one that has one. They're just up at night. Like, oh my gosh, like
we've all been there.
Random guy who's in the like 12th grade doesn't think I'm funny. Like, what should I do? And then all of a sudden you like adjust course and like change your identity, and it's super weird and uncomfortable, and it's bad for you. And all of a sudden you're eating yourself up. You're thinking about every single thing that you say, and you know what you're not doing? You're not doing your job. You're not winning games. You're not focusing on that side of things. And look, I haven't spoken to them. I don't know their mental very well. I actually don't think I've spoken to anyone on that squad since maybe before Actually, you know what? It was right when the ESL major was supposed to happen in LA. That was probably the last time I spoke to all of them, maybe a little bit after. So it's been a really long time. I don't know, what's going on over there, and I won't claim to. But I do think that they have the potential to bounce back, but not if they keep paying attention to stupid little things. They have to make more stupid little things.
Absolutely.
They need to get other people's heads. And yeah, I think all of the people that got upset about things that they did would instantly turn back and become their fans as well. Now, I'm a huge fan of this series. I actually haven't gotten to cover a Secret game yet in the wild card. Now I finally get to. Pretty standard bans coming out here. Maybe a little bit of an opening for a TA, though. Anytime that I don't see that in the bans, I start getting excited. I love TA. I feel like TA is something we're going to have to get used to. And I also don't feel like BSJ have figured out the answers to TA. Usually when you have something that's that strong, the answer exists, so it becomes less strong, right? That's how metas evolve. I don't feel like we have that yet for TA. Oh, there's the TA ban.
Yeah, she's just so punishing. The map control from the traps, as well as how quickly she can clear ancient stacks, and just how many objectives on the map are threatened by the existence of a TA. And in the past, she wasn't very popular because the mid was so responsible for rotating in the first 10 to 12 minutes of the game that if you were a TA farming, your teammates were just dying to some Void Spirit. But this patch, with the way the bottles and the runes work, people are much more farm oriented. TA's like, that's prime time for TA.
Yeah, I don't really think that any hero went from irrelevant to top tier so much off of just like
other things.
Yeah, exactly. Like the hero itself didn't change that much. The shard and the scepter are nice,
and they gave her the 100 sideblade range talent. That's a big one too.
The old talent replaced?
It was like move speed. It was like terrible. It was one of those talents you just never took.
Yeah.
Secret's the only team that's played Hoodwink a wild card so far, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And they did win that game, I believe, as well.
Yeah, they did. They did. It was against the Bristleback at 65 minutes or something.
And they played at 5 position. In DPC, Quincy Crew runs it on MSS, and they'll first phase it also, but that's NA. And MSS also runs it as a 4 role, and so Hoodwink in the 5 has been interesting to me.
Yeah, Hoodwink's a interesting one in general. Not going to go into the details. But
I was actually curious if you're going to bring that up. I was thinking of that to myself because you're.
Nah, I don't want to get fired right now.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Whoever made Hoodwink is horny on main, 100%. I won't get into
Have you seen Dawnbreaker's animations yet, Rich? Because don't worry, I think that.
She's kind of got like the Cybertron.
That's right, exactly.
Vibe
and
going.
Those thighs, though.
Man, I shouldn't have said that with cat ears, because now everybody's like, yo, who the heck is this furry host? Like, what's going on here? But speaking of what's going on here, what is going on here, BSJ? What do you think of Execration's first 2 picks?
Ancient Apparition, not a surprise at all. A little bit surprised about the Mars, not because I think the hero doesn't belong in the first round, but I don't traditionally see it with the AA. A lot of times the AA is paired with like a Tiny or some other heavy magic burst. Yes, Mars has the Spear Arena combo, but he's largely physical. A lot of Mars will consider going Deso if they're mid lane, or they'll buy into like a heavy physical damage strat. But maybe they're just trying to take it away from Secret because Mars Hoodwink is pretty scary lane potentially, but also just in game. Pretty much every hero in the game dies to an arena plus Hoodwink.
And discourage any potential Morphling picks. I think Secret has been doing a lot of work on Morphling. So if you don't have the energy to ban it in the first phase, which I think TA and Broodmother are probably better bans, then best way to discourage a Morph is just to pick an AA. And now Secret probably have their support duo online already. So Hoodwink plus Clockwork. Plenty of disable, plenty of setup.
Radiant team ban.
Yeah, I think Clockwork makes Mars' life really annoying because you spear people to cogs, so he'll like disrupt your ultimate and then also make it so you can't spear people into your own ultimate. Just mitigates a lot of the damage. A lot of your spells on Mars have really awkward cast animations, so sometimes not only do you have difficulty pressing the button, but by the time you've pressed it, the guy that you were trying to press it on has moved, and all of his abilities are missable. We've seen some questionable spears throughout the course of this tournament already.
Especially if we get that shard, homie can just jetpack out of the arena also.
Hell yeah.
Big fan of that.
That's leaving the arena in style.
I want to bring up, because A has been such a popular opener. I kind of want a little bit of a breakdown. Can we throw AA under a microscope, BSJ? Why are we seeing so many squads open with an AA?
TLDR, Centaur and Axe and all these tanky offlaners became really popular. People were just picking Medusings in response because they needed some tankiness on their side. They're like, wait a minute, how do we ever kill these tanky guys? And AA, out of every support in the game, offers by far the most damage because of the AA ultimate removing like effectively 20% of your HP because you die, you shatter at a specific health. But then also his Ice Vortex amps up everyone else's damage on his team. So if you put AA plus 1 or 2 heroes, you will kill anyone in the game. And that was pretty much people realizing, well, instead of banning Timbersaw, Centaur, Axe, all these tanky guys, we can just pick AA, and they don't want to pick any of them.
And it used to be, I know, day one, Kyle was telling you about control the armor and all that stuff. A lot of that came up because Vanguard became top tier, and you're like, if I can't hit this dude, then my best option is just to drop his armor. And then eventually people were like, or I can just hit him with magic damage.
Yeah.
And Vanguard gets online at 6 minutes. Who cares? I'm just going to use AA, amplify the magic damage. Life's good. I can just bypass the Vanguard altogether.
Yeah, they did a good nerf on AA in the recent patch. They made it so his Ice Vortex amps damage a little bit less. And then his ultimate does a little bit less damage as well. And those are like the perfect abilities to target, because that's exactly why he's so broken in comparison. Like even Willow as a support, and also why I thought Hoodwink would come online as a support, is just so much damage. All these 3 heroes are the prime supports for damage, and you need that right now, a lot of it.
Yeah, you know, Hoodwink with that nut shot and that bushwhack, really able to finish. When I actually want to give a big shout out, actually a huge shout out to WePlay Production here. That
you can see the bands now.
It's crazy though. Just adding the color can instantly see everything. But always a pleasure to get to be here with WePlay. Whether you go back to Omega League, you go back to the Bukaville Minor, every single day the show just gets more and more fantastic. So a huge shout out to all of them as we keep on moving forward. We see another band come through, going to be the Storm on Team Secret. And as we're starting to get a little bit deeper here, what are you expecting to see, Tsunami, as we get a little bit progressed in our draft?
They ban out some of the carries that would have been nice when you don't have to worry about an AA. Taking Faceless Void and Morphling out of the pool means that Execration are probably going to have to find something else to go along with the AA Wraith Kings banned out. And they actually go for a Mirana, so some lane synergy with the Mars. Global potential, I suppose.
Doesn't die to clock.
Yeah,
kind of like
definitely deal with cogs.
Some of a positive there.
I'm surprised nobody's made any jokes about the anime.
We kind of
did. You guys just do it throughout the entire DPC?
Yeah, exactly. Like during SE, every single time DK was chosen, Lacosta's like, "Oh, it's Davion." And I'm like, "Yes, Lacosta."
Here we go.
You're more than happy to. If you want to talk about Luna, you want to talk about Murata, please bring us back. It is the AniMajor. After all,
I just expected everybody. It seems like the low-hanging fruit. Like, put on some cat ears.
Never been better than that, Rich. Anyway, don't worry.
Wait, what'd you say?
Nothing.
I never go for the.
I respect your humor.
I never go for the.
Always the
5 seconds remaining.
Seriously though, what have I ever made?
Never.
Who said I was being sarcastic?
What did I do to you? Did I?
I missed you.
Did I DM your girlfriend without knowing? Very upset about that comment right now. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it through this set.
Sven gets picked up.
Might get canceled before the end of the series. I like the Sven. You see the offlane duo most likely already. I'd love to see if Execration has something up their sleeve to potentially rotate Mars to mid and then mess with this Sven pick a bit. But you just have 2 stuns between the Hoodwink and the Sven. Very strong lane. And Sven's traditionally an enabler for the rest of his team. Yes, you are inevitably the carry, but like he can participate pretty early on in the game, and you're not meant to make space for the first like 20 minutes. All you need is other people to do it for you. So as long as you have a decent lane, and then the other 2 cores have much better games, Sven fits really nicely into that picture. I think giving him like the early game priority is not good.
The team enabling oftentimes comes from Warcry though.
Yeah.
Warcry is not very useful this game. Like we said, his magic damage from this AA Mirana also, and Mars is physical, sure, and so that does reduce his kill potential with God's Rebuke, but Arena plus Spear is still going to be difficult for a Hoodwink to deal with. So I'm a little bit
a hater. I don't appreciate.
I am a hater of Sven. I haven't been big on Sven. In fact, during SEA and China DPC, Black was saying that Mag is just like a better Sven from a carry role, which isn't 100% accurate, but like a lot of the stuff that Mag provides is quick farming with cleave, which Sven does, except Mag's stun is BKB piercing, which is pretty nice.
But it's on a
flow on cooldown, that's for sure. And then Sven, I still feel has kiting issues. Now that the sister build isn't that popular, I think that a lot of slows that will be coming out from Execration, spears pushing you back, you can't really kill Mirana, because she's just going to leap away.
And a hero I hate.
10 seconds
Let's hear it.
remaining.
Ursa?
Yeah, I hate this hero. I think it sucks.
Even with the
5
diffusal build?
seconds.
Yeah, I've seen it work sometimes. I usually think it works
You
off.
say earlier that you were a big fan of.
I liked how Secret utilized the Brood to enable the Ursa.
Okay.
I was going to say that the hero, if enabled properly, to take Roche. I think this hero purely relies on getting Roche around like 15 minutes, like really early on. Turning that first, getting like the Ag Shard Aegis at like 25 minutes for free.
10
And then you hit this
seconds
crazy
remaining.
timing where you have like Diffusal BKB and an Ag Shard and a Basher and just kill everybody.
Do you think that
5 seconds
Execration
remaining.
can
Radiant
try to
team
use this
back.
Ursa to that end? Try to constantly get the Roche?
I just think the hero has a really weak laning stage, and I saw them pick it with AA yesterday. If I'm not mistaken, it did not work because AA doesn't make his laning partner stronger. He like plays off the strength of his laning partner, if
10
that makes
seconds
sense.
remaining.
Like if he has a strong laning partner, they will be strong together. But if his laning
5
partner
seconds
needs assistance, he doesn't do anything.
It's almost like a win more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't like the AA
Secrets
Ursa
turn to ban.
anti-synergy that I'm kind of deeming that it is. Darkseer Clock, very high tempo. Like Sven Darkseer combo has been a classic. You vacuum into the Sven stun, super low cooldown to work with. I just think that Ursa is going to struggle to participate in mid-game fights, and because
10
we're dealing with
seconds remaining.
European Dota on the other side, and also just looking at the lineup,
5
there are no
seconds
cooldowns here.
remaining.
Like Sven, without God Strength, can absolutely participate based on the lineup that he's got around them right now. And then on the other hand, Ursa, like, he's just not the same. You don't have a stun. You don't have, like, you have to be hitting people point blank range. And if you think about being melee
Radiant
range
team back.
against Darkseer, Clockwork, Sven, and a Hoodwink in the back pelting you with slows and kites, it's like, it just looks so much easier on paper for Sven to do his job. And so if the Ursa's not able to get that early momentum, I think the hero, like, I'll add an addendum to that, right? I think if he's not able to get that, he sucks. If he is, then he's fine. But I don't think he'll be able to do that this game.
Yeah, and early momentum would ideally come from the laning phase, and against a Darkseer, theoretically the win more aspect of Ancient Apparition will be like, okay, I've got Ice Vortex slow, you've got your Earth Shock slow, people won't be able to get away with that. You have to deal with
10
Surge,
seconds
which means
Nice
that...
Clockwork lane, man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Darkseer loves having these
5
melee, like
seconds
Nyx
remaining.
Assassins, Clockworks, just dump the Ion Shell on them and be like, great, what are you going to do about
Radiant
it?
team
And
picked.
that's going to be a big struggle for this safe lane duo of Execration with the AA and the Ursa.
Carl.
And Invoker gets picked up.
Is there a heavily favored lane matchup that they can pick mid for Execration? Or, like I said, do a little swip swap,
10
put the Mars
seconds
mid.
remaining.
Puck and TA are banned out. Lesh is banned
5
out. Death
seconds
Prophet's still in the
remaining.
pool. Two of the spirits are banned out, Void and Storm. So Ember's still in the pool, but Ember into Invoker's not great.
Yeah. They've actually covered their bases really well here because you want one of those mobile heroes. Yeah, I should have said it. I actually should have said it. You won't believe me now. Kunkka, I like a lot because it lanes well against Invoker. You lacked a bit of catch for the Darkseer Surge,
Okay.
as well as the Hoodwink. A lot of running away, reliant escape, right? So the X is great. My only concern is that you mentioned they had no physical damage against the Warcry. They literally have Kunkka, primarily.
Yeah.
So I think that Team Secret, I think their lineup just functions less. They don't need as many items, as many levels to do what they want to do.
Right out of the box assembled, and then on the side of Execration got the IKEA build, right? They need a lot of work to get it offline, but let's talk about what that's actually going to make the game look like. For Execration, how do they actually chart that path to victory in your mind, Tsunami?
I'm with Brian. You need to have this Ursa snowball early on, otherwise he's not going to be a threat to anyone, especially Invokers these days. I am not a big fan of this Witchblade build, and I think that it slows down Invokers big time, but it puts more late game insurance, and if Ursa's not able to snowball, and Invoker does not get punished for going a greedier build and goes Witchblade Midas, then I do think it'll be difficult, but I said it was going to be a draw. Secret's going to take game one.
Yeah, Secret game one.
Okay, well, it looks like both of our analysts are in agreement, but we've already seen Execration make some pretty impressive upsets. Let's see if they're going to be able to do it again in our first game of the day.
Thank you, panel. My name is Suns Fan. Joining me is my good friend Jenkins. How are you doing, Jenkins Dota?
Did it actually say Jenkins Dota?
No.
Oh, that would have been funny. But yeah, that's a reference to yesterday.
So it wasn't funny the way I did it?
No.
Okay, thank you.
That's okay. Yeah, ready for a great game here. I think, based on what the panel said, I think I agree with most of the stuff. I will say, I think I picked Secret to win this game 2-0 today. Not because Execration didn't impress me yesterday, they really did, but I was expecting Secret to come in with some improvements and having learned something from their series yesterday, and I think one of the things they really took away was that they need to have stronger teamfight and late game insurance. In this game they've got Darkseer Invoker and a Sven to scale with, so and in addition to that they have some pretty good targeted stuns way of starting fights. But I gotta say though, I loved the way Execration played many of the games yesterday. I think the thing that really stood out for me was the spell casting. I think they're one of the best teams here at comboing spells, and they keep picking to their strengths. I love to see it. Kunkka is a catch. Mars is a setup. AA once again. They have Arrow to follow through on multiple things like Arena or X-Mark. And I love seeing when a team has a clear identity and an idea of how they should play and they really execute it. I guess the one limiting factor is maybe they're a little bit pigeonholed because of that, if they want to play like that every game. But if they execute like yesterday, they could definitely take this game.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised to see that they only split all their games, because right now Execration has 3 ties, Secret has 2.
Yep.
I mean, to get top 2, I would think you need to go 2-0 against somebody.
Yeah, you need to.
You got to start racking up these wins in quick succession, or else you're going to be. I mean, it's only the top 2 that move on. So for a team, especially like Secret, with all these expectations, obviously we talked about they've already made it to TI, so maybe the pressure isn't on, but you need to stay in good form, and to do that, you know, you need to start winning. As we're going to see, Yowei is going to be playing the Kunkka mid, which I have been waiting to see. I've heard about a lot of different potential builds. I'm not sure if we're going to see anything crazy, but I think the off-lane Kunkka is what I've been hopefully going to be, or what I've been hoping to see in this tournament, where you go for like the Torrent Storm and the Shard, and you go all these weird items that you're not used to seeing in a particular game. But I'm guessing this will be just more of a standard Kunkka build.
Yeah, you know, something I was hoping we would get to see, because I'm really impressed by that route. So to clarify, Kunkka with the new talents and the setup, the way that he can do it, he has a level 10 talent that gives him Torrent knockup/stun duration, and then he has a level 15 talent that gives him Torrent damage. And combined, those 2 talents makes every Torrent deal 500 damage, and then you get the Ags and get Torrent Storm. And on top of that, you can get the Shards. You have like all this repositioning magic damage utility build, which I think can be really cool if your other heroes can carry. In this game, with a Mars offlane, like you said, it's more likely Kunkka will go for more of a right-click heavy build with something like maybe an Armlet, Daedalus, these kind of items that core Kunkkas will usually do historically to dish out the damage.
Well, he's dishing out a lot of damage right now against Nisha. He's already relatively low HP.
It's a great Kunkka matchup.
I mean, look at the CS right now, 7-4 versus 1-1 for Nisha. So, I mean, he's not Exord obviously, so last hits will be a little bit more difficult to come by. Well, what are your thoughts on going the Quas Wex build this game for Invoker?
I think it's decent. If you were to go Exort, I think your lineup would be too slow and too greedy. You already have a Sven, he wants to farm Ancients, he wants to play jungle, and you want someone to pair with your other heroes that want to be active. Clockwork plays well with Invoker, in my opinion, when he goes Quaswex. It's a great setup for EMP. He does a lot of damage with Cold Snap together with Battery Assault. It's a good hero for Hoodwink to play around. Like, basically all of Secret's heroes except Sven really just want to group up and find kills with Invoker. So... and in addition to that, EMP is amazing against non-int cores, and you have Mars, Kunkka, and Ursa. These heroes get EMP'd, that's all your mana gone. Like, they're like 500 or less on all 3 heroes when you get to that early mid-game stage, so solid. But yeah, he's getting absolutely annihilated in lane.
Yeah, it's not really close right now. I mean, looking at the last hits in general, right now Execration's owning all 3 lanes. Even the Mars. Yeah, Nisha gets hit by the save no sentry there for Yoe, but still crushing this lane. In fact, getting something like that off where you have to walk back to base or wait for Salve to come sometimes just works out into your benefit if you're Kunkka. I mean, the thing about like the Quaswex build, you have this regen, but against the Kunkka, he's doing tons of burst. So you could get this kill theoretically if you're Yoe.
Not just that. It's not just the burst, it's also just like mathematically in the start, Quas cannot keep up with Execration. I guess level 5, I think he stabilizes a lot more here. But this is definitely a Kunkka favored lane, and Yoe is playing completely to his strengths. Like, he's doing exactly what you need to do. If you're playing Kunkka against Invoker, you ensure the CS, every single Tidebringer needs to connect on Invo, and he has to buy a salve, like you said. So not only is he behind by 10 CS here, but he's also expending gold into regen, whereas Kunkka can just buy all these stats with a double bracer into bottle build.
Oh man, double brace. That's like an, I'm going to say old skill. That's like a year ago. People were getting this literally every game, and then they nerfed bracers. Haven't been seeing it as much as we're going to see RR inside some cog action from Yapzor. I mean, Yapzor, how greedy can you be on a Clockwork? I mean, when I think of him, I don't think of Clockwork just because it's not really a greedy support.
Definitely not. The hero obviously does have farming potential globally with Rocket Flare when you get levels. That can take some farm, and you can push waves and kill jungle camps with Battery Assault, but it's definitely not one of the best heroes to do it with. And Nisha is just non-stop getting pressured here, which is...
I mean, if you're Secret, do you think they should make some sort of rotation? Oh, as we say that, I believe we do see somebody there, but see if they can actually help out. It might be just fairing at the bottle there, you know.
Clockwork level 2 is not very scary, and the thing you do ensure by going these 2 bracers is multiple things. First of all, you have the regen, so if Invoker pokes back, you're still going to stay relatively healthy, and just this massive boost to your flat HP makes it way less appealing for Clockwork to come gank. You saw this is a level 2 Clockwork. If he's level 3, I still don't think they kill. Like, it's just cutting through 1200 HP with these 2 heroes is really, really difficult.
Yeah. Oh, Matu. I thought that was going to connect from Puppy, but not to be, and the right click will be enough. So after all this, First Blood is top lane. Still for Execration though, as they're still doing very well in all 3 lanes, as we can see. Matu 27-0 in terms of CS. We're going to see Zai get pressured out now. I mean, these are pretty tough lanes for Secret.
This is the most one-sided first 5 minutes we've had in a game so far. We cast 4 games yesterday.
Hey, it's 2K already.
Goal lead minute 5.
Yeah, that's
Secret are
gigantic.
Bodied.
Now, one way back, of course, is Ancient Stacks for Sven, which I'm not sure if we're seeing that come to fruition as of yet. But, I mean, there's already a sentry there to make sure that's not getting blocked for Secret, but in that triangle.
But yeah, great stuff from Execration so far. Gonna see a little bit of pressure coming onto Yoe and mid out of Nisha. He's trying to at least stand his ground, but didn't really accomplish much except just do a little bit of damage. And another benefit, just to finish off these bracers, is whenever you get max HP on Kunkka, you just make your ulti that much stronger, right?
Yep. So damage mitigation.
Having base HP on this hero is really, really good. Nisha, gonna get X'd. They have an arrow ready to connect. This is problems.
Yeah, no mana on the Yoe, but it's not really gonna matter too much as more rotations come in. So an easy kill to add insult to injury. BDZ. He's just going to get barely pressured here from Yapzor. Rune is bottom. It's an illusion as we see bot lane. Zai getting chased by Palace, who I believe has that Orb of Corrosion. So, yeah, this is looking very rough for Secret. Not exactly what I was expecting to see. I mean, this is a team we talked about how they get off to really good starts just by out-farming the opponent, but they're just losing, it looks like, every single lane right now.
I'd say just theoretically, the lane that surprises me the most is bottom. I think the other two lanes, Execration, are inherently favored. Kunkka, at this level of play, a good Kunkka beats Invoker every time. Like, it doesn't matter. If Invoker goes Exort, it's the same story. He will still lose. And in the top lane, Hoodwink 5 is just weak.
Palace, he already has his ultimate, so pops the Enrage, going to mitigate a lot of that damage. Gets vacuumed back in, though. Does Secret have enough damage to actually, no. Yapsor is not fast enough to catch up.
Somehow got away from the clockwork there, and that's kind of surprising. They must have had some bad luck with that vacuum. He must have got behind the tree line or something to not get caught in the battery. But
oh, look at these stacks on Matu. We see Yowie now here with the boat. Arrow's going to connect as well. Oh my, this is so bad for Secret. They're going to get the stacks and the kill. Yikes.
Oh my goodness.
And they get a possessed mask. Unbelievable trade here, Cinder. Holy jeez.
At least it's their own. If they stole Secret's possessed mask, that would have been even worse. But yeah, awesome stuff from Execration. Who was it we saw yesterday with the Morph invasion? That was Gambit, I think. It was Loranoff who made a similar play against Medusa. That was Secret as well. It was the same story. Secret had stacked the jungle for their Medusa play by Matsu, and then Loranoff just went in there on Morphling and stole it. And Execration were like, that's a cool play. We'll do that ourselves today. Seems like Secret have this approach to it. But yeah, this is one of the things, in my opinion, that you sign up for when you pick Hoodwink 5. I think this hero is just not very strong in lane as a 5, especially if the carry in lane is not a true bully. And Sven is not strong. Like, this hero needs time, he needs to build up. You have a bit of a stun and a right click, but you're not like, let's say, Gyrocopter or an Ursa that can really just get in there and do all the damage. Because what Hoodwink will offer you is a little bit of a slow and a stun, but its damage is not wild until you hit that 6 mark. So the Execration know this very well and are just taking advantage.
Puppy again. No need for the Mars Arena because he had just used it to kill Puppy a couple seconds ago, so no TP for him. Well, he'll get a new one. That's one of the great benefits of dying these days, I suppose. But what position do you like the Hoodwink? Because every game that I've seen, like an NADPC, which it was picked, I think, more than any other region, was positioned for almost every single time. And it looked, at first I was a little skeptical, but it did look pretty good. As BDZ getting pressured here. Of course, Yaps are only level 4 right now. And top tier 1 tower will be taken out without any defense from Secret.
In my opinion, Hoodwink is just not a first pick hero. I don't think it's good enough. I think it has too many weaknesses against specific heroes, like heroes that cut trees, heroes that have a natural way of being mobile, like fast traveling, or heroes that are strong in lane. You see
Arena, Zai's in quite a bit of trouble. To the arrow, great setup. It's going to be more than enough damage to take out Zai. Now the tier 1 tower does fall. Actually, no, they defended it with just a little HP here. As Yapsor now going to find the arms of Yowie with the X into boat. Nico will not fall for this, so it's going to be a 2-for-0. Feels like Execration's just getting literally everything they want.
Yep. There's only one hero thriving right now in Secret, and that's Matu, and he is still behind the Ursa minute 10 as Sven. Because his big stacks got largely stolen. He did get some of the first stack before he got killed by the boat the previous fight, but yeah, Execration is just doing everything right. It's what I've been talking about. They're just doing such a good job rotating and casting spells off each other. That was what impressed me the very most with them yesterday. It wasn't like the drafts are solid. They're not like super creative or innovative. They just work. Like, it's heroes that combo. It's heroes that have stun. It's good lanes, and then they just execute. It's nice and it's straightforward. It's very easy to understand as a spectator what they're trying to do. And sometimes you can say that's a weakness. It's like, well, then the other team obviously understands it too. Well, you gotta outplay them then. Right. It's one thing you know what they're gonna do, but can you beat it, right?
Yeah, and we're continuing to see this build from Ursa where you go for the fast diffusal blades. You're not going any type of farming mechanic, because that's kind of his, that was his biggest weakness for a long time, not being able to farm the jungle. And then you just start getting Battle Fury as of the last 1.5 years or so. But this feels like it's more of a snowball thing where you're up, you're going to be continue to chase. You have Orbit Corrosion on top of that, so it's going to be really difficult to get away from Ursa.
Diffusal Blade is super good against Sven. I think something to keep an eye out for Secret now is when they identify that this build is coming out, you need to reserve the Surge for Sven. He has to be able to reset out when he gets Diffusal, because it's one of the few carries that Sven can't just fight head-to-head if they have similar net worth at this stage of the game. Like, Ursa's going to just destroy you. You're not winning the trade. Whether you have Warcry on or not, it's going to be too much, so definitely something.
Nisha already expended the Tornado. Yowie is here. He's going to get hook shot. AA Blast is coming. It'll connect on basically nothing. There's the boat. comes out. It's only going to connect on one time. They have the strength in numbers, so they do take out Yoe, and it looks like it'll stop there. But Matu, that we'll see if they try to go for some more. Maybe there's some stacks in the jungle for him.
Yeah. Good call from Secret. That's the kind of move that you don't have very much time. But Conqueror, and they immediately pound out. Very nicely done. They're going to try to snowball a little bit off it. Immediate follow-up smoke. No hook shot now, of course, so I'll have to do the slow way with engaging, and I don't think they're not really primed to find anything here, but they're at least going to get out some vision.
And what do you think, like, when that hook shot is down, they don't really have much initiation.
No, they really
Darkseer
don't.
goes for some, like, a blink dagger build.
Yeah, and I will never really consider Hoodwink a catch. It's like, she's a really good follow-up, but it's not reliable, right? You have a spell that needs to be around trees. It has a projectile that is relatively easy to dodge.
The great thing is you can place a tree, Cinder. I don't know if you know about that.
It takes so long.
I know your favorite mechanic in the game is the fact that you can eat the tree from a bushwhack and it takes off bushwhack.
Yeah, I think that's completely unnecessary. I don't know.
I mean, you think the hero's not good anyway, right? But I mean, we see teams picking it up, so maybe there's something there.
No, so the thing is, I don't think Hoodwink is a bad hero. I just think it needs conditions to be met, and that's why I don't like it being first pick. There are some, like, say a hero like AA, you don't, in this patch, I feel like you don't feel bad first picking AA, because you can pick, like, some sort of combos. You know you have something against healing, which control part of late game, so you have, like, that in show.
Oh, boy. Mars Arena, double damage on Nico as well. Rebuke and the AA blast. Very easy killing. Yaps are just going to be the food to clean up the play for BDZ. That's a double kill for him.
Gets a 13-minute Vessel on Mirana. That is really, really good timing with these two kills coming out.
What's your condition here for Secret? Obviously, Matu needs to farm. He needs stacks, but how do you stack for him when Execration is being so active? I'm looking at Roche, for God's sake.
I think it's pretty difficult right now. When the lanes go this badly and the enemy team is just running at you like this and take the top tier 1 tower, your options on the map are very, very limited. The way I see it, you got to try to get Sven a BKB before you fight even. I don't think... Oh, he's farming enemy jungle.
Caught. X marks into the boat. TPs are coming as well. And this is going to be a very, very easy kill, again, for Execration.
That guy diffusively just go to work. He just absolutely slapped him. There's nothing he could do.
That didn't really look like a slap, but maybe we come from different backgrounds, Cinderin.
A mauling.
Yeah, that's more like it. I mean, have you seen a bear in real life? They don't slap.
We don't have bears in Denmark.
Oh, that's interesting. Tell me another interesting fact about Denmark. We're making a joke that in America we call it Danish, like pastries, just Danish, and you guys just...
We call them Vienna bread.
Yeah, you call them Vienna bread. That's very odd.
Nobody wants to take credit or responsibility.
Hookshot actually connects with the cogs there.
Aegis down.
Yeah, the ult from Puppy, that's the Aegis. They can still technically fight here. Yoe comes in, still no boat. AA Blast coming in. There's the ult from Matu. They're going to be able to take out the Mars very quickly. There's going to be a trade for Zai. So off lane for off lane, and I believe both teams will just go back to farming.
That's pretty decent for the... I think at this point, if you trade even, they didn't even trade even. They got an Aegis too. So that's 2 for 1. Matu gets to access his triangle freely for a bit. So that's a little bit of a breather for Secret here, a little bit of space. They definitely have some work to do. So I'm still... Hoodwink is really a hero. I've played it quite a bit, right? And the reason... What I think about it is that the primary reason it gets played more successfully on average as a 4 than a 5 is that, in my opinion, the 5s are... It's more important that you have good laning presence. Whereas for the 4s, in a lot of matchups where you have another 4, there are some 3s in the game that are relatively self-sufficient. Like, let's say you're playing Hoodwink with, I don't know, a Centaur, right? If the Centaur gets off to a decent start and has a good matchup, the Hoodwink might not need to be a very big threat in the lane, but therefore he can start taking some space on the map, get some levels, get maybe 1 key item and start having a bigger impact. But if your 5 is weak and your carry, in this patch the carries are, for the most part, not extremely strong laners, you're leaving yourself susceptible, basically. So on average. The other thing is a lot of the offlaners combo well with the Hoodwink because they have kill potential, right? Like the Centaur again being a great example. You have a lot of spell burst, you get kills. Hoodwink with Sven don't really have the same thing. And we've definitely seen Execration so far in the game take full advantage of the fact that Hoodwink just isn't a very powerful laner.
That's just one lane though. I mean, they did lose every single lane.
Right? Yeah, but
invisibility.
It's
I mean, either way, 4K net worth lead for Execration. I mean, this is 16 minutes. That's quite substantial.
It is.
I mean, if you're Secret, what do you need to do? You just need to slow the game down? I mean, Matu's trying to go for a BKB, so that's obviously a fighting build. That's not really. It's just Echo Saber BKB. Doesn't really have that much damage yet.
And he has Alacrity though. That does help him quite a bit.
True.
It's a Quaswex Invoker, so the attack speed will be there. Yeah, I think the name of the game is still just slow it down. Defend your mid tower. Try to defend the bottom tower as well, because it gives an access point for Execration to get into the triangle from 2 angles. And if you can successfully slow it down, and maybe, like, all it's going to take in this game is to get a couple BKBs in one good team fight, right? One thing that the Radiant does not deal with very well is BKBs. It makes Mars very weak, it makes Kunkka relatively weak, it makes Mirana weak. AA, you only have Ice Blast, so... I'm not gonna say that a Sven with BKB is invincible here, right? But it at least simplifies things to an extent where if the Ursa is accounted for, I don't think he will die. Sitting in Shadow Amulet,
yeah.
Very...
is this an Overwatch case that I'm watching right now?
Very peculiar.
Okay.
Well, it gives him experience.
Yeah, that's true. He's getting something out of it at least. And I think the big fight's going to be for this second Roche when it's eventually up. You have a Halberd on Kunkka already, so Sven, not even with the BKBs. We're going to see the initiation from Nico again. My goodness, Nisha is just getting wrecked this game hard. Kill after kill. Pretty much the last 3 arenas, I feel like, have been reserved for him.
I think this is kind of a pattern that we've been seeing in some of the games. I want to say the SEA and the Chinese teams have put more emphasis on destroying mid than the Western teams have. Like, there was a game yesterday as well with Miracle against Emo, where they ganked Miracle's TA mid like 3 times, and the Ember just took off completely. So they seem to be drafting a little bit around these combos that give them the potential to kill mid. And I think that's a really strong way of playing the patch, just because, once again, there's plenty of offlaners that can hold their own, right? You have this Mars who gets off to a good start, and then he's free to move. Oh, Puppy could be in trouble here. If there's a good Enrage, use it. Oh, it isn't.
And no Enrage needed. It is a hoodwink. That is truly unfortunate. Now we're going to see Yowie X back to base here.
Oh yeah, Puppy didn't have his stun ready. He used it to farm, so...
He got a couple creeps. I'm sure it was worth it. I mean, see, when I look at this net worth distribution for Secret, and Yapzor is literally last in the game, that's never a good sign for Secret.
That is usually trouble.
All right, we're going to see Moonlight Shadow. Nico with the Mars ult again. Looks like he doesn't really want to go for Yapzor. He's like, I guess. Sunstrike is there, but a little bit of damage to Mars in the meantime. But here's the counter initiation. Mars ult finally comes down into the boat. AA blast to follow, so they finally do get the lowest net worth hero in the game. It takes quite a bit of effort, though, as Ursa disarmed for the time being. There's the spear, and Puppy's going to die again. That's 2 back-to-back deaths. And here's the X into the torrent. Looks like they'll find Zai as well. As Mountain pops the ult and just immediately gets disintegrated by the bear, who does not slap Cinderin. How dare you?
Close call.
Yep, Sunstrike not quite enough. And I mean, Secret get literally nothing out of that. And now the Sven ult on cooldown.
I don't know how you re-access the map right now. I really don't. Like, I can tell you from playing games in this position, if you're a lineup that needs to wait for a specific item, and the key to getting that item is having access to your triangle, but you're playing into a team that has twice as good catch as you and better team fight and are an item up, you're kind of in desperation mode right now. It's not like coming from A is impossible, but I'm trying to, like, you know, when you're behind, you try to communicate and find a recipe, right? You want to dumb down the fight so that everybody knows, okay, how do we argue the fight so that we... Oh my goodness, not again.
I mean, he has to do stuff like this, so that's the thing. It's not like he's... Like, once you're down, you have to try to make space where you can, and, I mean, you got to give Execration credit. They're just shutting this down hard.
Over. Like, I can't really put a finger on what they've done. I think the only real mistake I've seen in this game was Kunkka's death mid. Like, everything else has been super clean. The way they drafted their lanes, the way they played said lanes, the timing that they got Roche, when they invaded, they stole stacks early. Like, this has been top tier stuff from them. This is Execration's best game so far. I think they're looking really hot today. But you gotta wonder for Secret as well. Like, I picked Secret to win this series coming into today because I was like, okay, they're gonna have learned their lessons from yesterday, but they might have overcompensated a little bit in some areas. Like, to me, this looks like a very untraditional Secret draft, right? In the sense that usually Secret will ensure their lanes and then build a farming lead, but they just have the weaker lanes all around, and Execration are just taking taking everything they're given all the time.
Yep, taking full advantage for sure. And this is just going to snowball from here. The tier 2 tower looks like Secret might want to defend here. Nisha, you know, a couple level time counterpart Kunkka mid. And Fortification's already popped. And keep in mind that Roshan is coming back shortly, so that's a big contesting point. Obviously, Execration can take it way faster. And in terms of, I mean, Secret have some good counter initiation. If you get a good vac wall, I mean, that's the beauty of Darkseer. The stronger your opponents get, the stronger your ult becomes.
Yeah.
But it is difficult to kind of combo with the heroes that they have. I mean, it's not like they have the Exort, like Meteor, into all that wombo combo potential.
And I think it's also worth keeping in mind when it comes to wall. Something that's often overlooked is the enemy team's ability to kill the illusions, right? And they have it. They have a lot of AoE damage. All right,
cask shot. Matu's going to pop the ult. Sunstrike to follow. Air's going to come and connect onto Yapzor for now. Nico actually gets Force Staff to safety, so he's perfectly fine. Matu pops a newly picked up BKB. And that's it. That is the fight from Secret. That is truly bad. Now Execration just needs to wait out this BKB and or the Sven ult. There's a double damage though, so poses a little bit of a threat, I suppose. But yeah, this is all about Roshan. Another minute and a half to go, so kind of a later spawn. But Execration is still looking like they're in the driver's seat right now.
For sure.
What, do you know anything about being in the driver's seat? Do you drive?
No, I don't.
Do you have a license?
No, I don't.
Like, if I gave you the keys to my car, would you be able to drive?
No, but I know what it's like being in the passenger seat, and that's where Secret is. So, so I can relate.
I'm pretty sure they're in the back seat right now. They're
in the trunk.
They're in the toddler little thing.
Yeah, it's not looking good. And what I was trying to get at before is if you're in this position, you try to make a plan for how to access a fight, right? Like, okay, we're gonna jump this guy, we're gonna cast our spells this way. This is the key hero that we need to shut down. Secret strategy, and I can't really come up with a very good attack plan right now to entering a fight, right?
Yeah.
Like, who do you go on with who so that it's successful? When you're playing into Boat, you're playing into the BKB, you're playing into an Ursa that's just killing everyone. Moonlight Shadow is a problem. You have to be able to handle getting ice blasted on your carry basically when you go in. Because
I mean, what do you think about like Secret's lineup? I mean, it's easier, you know. This is hindsight 2020 stuff, but like their initiation relies on Yapzor, who is the least farmed player in the entire game. Like, how much of a factor is that? Because he's going for Aghanim. Imagine he had Ags already, which he normally would probably around this time. That gives you double initiation. It gives you so many more possibilities.
It's not necessarily a problem to build a strategy around the 4 being a bit sacrificial. The problem is, again, how badly the lanes went. Like, let's say Clockwork has a bad game and everyone else is doing great. I think it's okay. Like, you can even play Clockwork position 5 in some games if your carry is strong enough. Like, a lane like Gyro position 1 Clock 5 can totally work even at a pro level. But again, recovering from this tough of a start against a team that has so much catch and so good spell casting is always going to be a major challenge. And
I mean, look at Zai. He has a pipe. That's it. Yeah. This is not normal farm from Secret, that is for sure.
And they don't have good physical mitigation, right? Like these Kunkka Cleaves, the Ursa are the Rebuke. We
have a smoke from Secret, and the Mirana ult as well. But they're going to catch out the Mirana, so they start this fight out 5v4. And of course, Roche is under attack. And they have to go for this, I feel like. And there is a buyback available on a Mirana.
Yep. They're going to take a risk here. This could
Power jumps in right onto Nisha. Absolutely destroying him. But goes in. Viz doesn't have any vision for now. Finally finds it. Nico with the Marzel just to ensure that they take out that pesky Invoker. Mirana did buy back. They found the AA as well. So this is now technically a 4v4. The arrow does connect on Matu. Expect a buyback here on the Invoker potentially. The Ghost Ship coming in. Connect into the Spear as well. They have more than enough damage. And with the dust, Matu finds his way to the grave. And now Execration can do whatever they want. Still buybacks available from Secret, but they're not going to expend them. So they can find one more kill and likely Roche to follow.
I love watching Execration spellcasting. It's like a well-oiled machine. It's so good to watch.
Do you know anything about a well-oiled machine as well?
I do. I've been in the passenger seat of many a well-oiled machine in my life.
I see. Interesting.
Yes. No. Well, what's so beautiful about it is
you have a lot of car references. I noticed. It's interesting.
machines don't have to be cars.
I know, but that one, when you think of a well-oiled machine, you think of a car. At least a normal human does. It's wow. All right, well, he's actually going to tick out in the fountain with the ice blast.
I don't know. I think of a machine, and a machine could be a lot of things.
So when you say a well-oiled machine, you think of a coffee machine? Is that what you're trying to say?
A meat grinder.
A meat grinder.
Yes.
That's very specific, and it actually speaks volumes to your personality. It makes a lot of sense now.
Yes.
Your upbringing.
Yes.
As Palos, well, we have the Aegis, we have the Shard now, so anytime he uses Earthshock, he will get a 1.5 second enrage buff, which, again, we talked about this yesterday, I think is a top 5 Shard in the entire game.
Very good.
Extremely good. I mean, it's always nice to... Like when you get the second rush, you want to give it to your carry or your mid, typically.
Usually, yeah.
But sometimes there's better shards to give it to, technically, right? But this is the best shard, and it's on your carry, so it works both ways here.
The Kunkka shard could have also been interesting. I think it's...
You actually think it's good? I feel like it's a meme.
Like, I feel like on any hero where you just get an additional ability that has damage and repositioning potential, that's powerful, right?
Yeah, but the repositioning could, like, screw everything up, right?
It can.
Because it's a well-oiled machine, and if you add patch notes to a well-oiled machine, you can't do that. It doesn't work that way.
Have you seen Execration spellcasting? Do you think that's going to mess them up?
Yes.
Okay.
If you've never bought it before and you buy it for the first time, yeah.
Yeah. Of course they've played with Kunkka Shard.
You're assuming a lot of things.
I've seen some Kunkka players with a lot of games that are buying Shard this patch, and they just have so much control. Like, the fact that you can... it's kind of like a pseudo X-Mark, even in some situations, where you can torrent and then tidal wave people into the torrent. And I think tidal wave gets a lot better when you have Axe. So I guess from that perspective, since he went for the physical build with Halberd, maybe he doesn't take it, but when you have Torrent Storm, it's actually super annoying, because usually, like, in fights, people will...
Well, it's very chaotic.
Storm, right? They will try to get it. Okay, Puppy's dead again.
It's fine. Keep talking.
How's Puppy doing this game? I feel like he's only died. Okay, 1-5-1.
He has more farm than Yapzor still.
Yeah, he has. Well,
I mean, he's basically positioned for Hoodwink.
I think this might be Yapzor's lowest CS ever, minute 28. No joke. It might be the least CS he's ever had. He has 18 creeps.
Yeah, that's...
I don't remember seeing... Like, when he plays Clock, even, he'll usually have at least, like, double this or triple. But there's just been nothing to claim. The map has just been on lockdown.
I mean, again, this is less about Secret playing poorly, in my opinion. It's more about Execration just playing godlike right now. They're doing everything right.
They really are.
Hey, plenty of time on Aegis. You really hate to lose it here. Nice sidestep of the Sunstrike, which he definitely knew was coming. And we'll TP back to base.
X-Mark for the refill.
And a Titan Sliver. Very nice.
Very good. Okay, serious time.
Okay. That means not serious time.
Exactly. Out of your teammates that you get in your pubs, how big a percentage do you think call it Titan Silver, and how many call it Titan Sliver?
I would say more than half say Silver.
Yeah.
So
even in
when you asked what that was that a test for me?
Huh?
Were you testing how I would say it?
No, I mean, I said it for you. I said Sliver.
Oh, did you? No, you said what neutral item is that?
Oh, I did. Actually, true. Yeah.
It was. Yeah. You always test me. I love it. Initiation on Tanisha. Enrage is popped. That was actually the ultimate and not his shard. They're gonna reset here as the cold feet onto Yapzor. And it will actually proc. Coming into the X, and that's an easy kill on Yapzor again. So tier 2 to follow in all likelihood. I mean, the wall already been placed as well. So with that, he just should be able to go in. Nice tornado actually disrupts the Nico Mars ult. So wasn't able to get that off, but
that was very fortuitous. That tornado was actually not intended for him, but he blinked into it.
Yeah, I do that a lot. Puppy. Yeah, looks like he's donezo. Needs help from Nico, though, so that'll be an easy one in Zai. Kind of on the outskirts of this fight. I mean, they do have buybacks on Secret, so they probably have one fight in them here.
They forced the BKB on Matsu as well with Ice Vortex into Arrow. He had to BKB that. He was scared of dying.
And look at that. He's actually going Ags, which is like not the typical thing on Sven because they just lack initiation right now. If you're going to get that, you want a lot more farm first, right? It feels like kind of a desperation mode, which obviously pretty understandable.
They need the big combo, right? They need Vacuum into Stormhammer, and they need the moment that Stormhammer connects, they need a big amount of damage. So
that Crystallis. Here's the Mars ult onto 2. No BKB for Mr. Matu. The Ice Blast will finish him off. Yapzor next on the list, and this is a huge stop in Execration's favor. It's going to be a 1-0 start for them again. Both teams have split every single series they've played so far. And they both desperately need a 2-0 at some point. It's Nisha, they have the vision, and they have the kill.
If Secret don't clean this up for the next game, this is going to be a 2-0. They look absolutely just lost.
Yeah, they look pretty lost here.
But the thing is, I feel like it's very easy to look lost when you lose all 3 lanes and your tower and Roche this fast and your lineup works like this. So you got to draft differently. Like for me, this really, it comes back to the draft that you're setting yourselves up to kind of have to massively outplay. Whereas Execration, if they perform their strategy well and do the lanes well, which I think they overperformed it, not necessarily for them, but they won probably by more than I would have expected on average in these 3 lanes, especially bottom. Like the Ursa was 1,000 net worth ahead of Darkseer minute 6 or something. It was pretty crazy. If you're going to show up like this today, Secret really needs to get back to the drawing board. And I think what they should adjust for game number 2, they need to have stronger lanes and they need to be able to fight them head on. Like they actually just have to.
Well, they're going to hold on for one more potential Wombo combo. Matu about 1,000 away from finishing up his Ags, so he'll be able to travel with his Stormhammer.
He almost needs to do it on his own, though. Invoker's damage.
I mean, even with that, I mean, again, obviously they're severely underarmed, but just a Crystallis, that's not really that much damage. Oh, no. Spear will miss. AA Blast coming in, though. Matu getting chased. Yeah, he's inside the arena now, and this is going to be a relatively easy kill. The BKB is popped by Palos, and he just absolutely crushes them. Buyback onto Matu, so the dreams of an Aghanim Scepter are long gone. Vacuum into basically nothing. Both actually hits 2. And it looks like Execration wants to reset now that the buyback has come to fruition for Matu. And they technically could go back in if they really want, but they have expended most of their ults here. Let's see if Secret can find any outskirts here. Alright, Bushwhack connects on 1.
Radiant's top tower.
I think Execration. Yep, X marks into. Yep, BKB for Nisha. Yeah. And yet another BKB is just to run away. But it feels like the whole game has been like that for Secret. Defensive BKBs, can't use it to fight.
Yeah.
Not able to really connect on their, like, the quote-unquote combo, or Wombo combo potential.
Radiant
and Palace did extremely well on the Ursa mechanic now. We're going to see, oh, that, I'm not sure if that was intended, but that worked out relatively well. Here we go. This is the potential inside a closed quarter area, back into the water, setting everything up. Nobody can figure out where the hell they're padding. Monty pops the BKB, pounding up on Youe, but now he's stuck inside the arena into an arrow. That's technically a dieback, and I expect a GG here at any moment.
I've been there as clockwork.
There
you know, you get this 3-man catch you really want to cog, and now your Sven can't get in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matsu was actually blocked out from getting in. The damage that he could have maybe found 2 kills, but yeah. At the end of the day, I don't know if that would have really caught it. Execration just, that was a dismantling. Was that the most one-sided game of the major so far?
I mean, you talked about how Secret needs to come back with a vengeance, because if they continue to, even if they win this next game, which they have to now, if you go 0-2, I don't know what the chances are, but I don't think really you can get top 2. That sounds unrealistic. But I mean, Execration, if they're going to look like that, then they're going to take this 2-0.
I really want to start from the beginning for Secret in the next game. Like, don't first pick Hoodwink. Again, for me, even if Puppy loves this here, even if they flex it, I think it's just too conditional. Like, there's just too many things that need to align.
what Synderen said during the cast was great in the sense that he said their game plan was pretty obvious, to follow what Execration's recipe for success was. And even though it's easy to expect it, was Secret prepared out of laning phase? Did they even have the resources to ever deal with it, even if they knew I was going to slap them right in the face? Because bottom lane, I would have to watch it back in terms of exactly what happened there. I thought Clock Darkseer would do much better against the AA Ursa, but Palos was just number one net worth super early on. They end up getting the exact recipe. First Rosh into second Rosh around 25 minutes. You get that Ag shot on Ursa. It's incredibly powerful since you're going for this defusal build. You're not farming as much, giving yourself that extra 1,400 gold. Your timings are just too fast. I thought Sven would have a better time participating in mid-game team fights, but when those mid-game team fights don't even require the Ursa, you win one fight and then you just walk into Roche.
Sven was stunned for like 10 seconds that fight.
That's when your teammates in a pub ping BKB.
Well, he had to use it for freaking X arrow after that.
That's why you saw him later use it for the X arrow.
Because he's like, oh, that's what happens if I don't do it. The same thing with Invoker. Invoker would be all like, oh, it's just a minor engagement going on here. Oh God, I'm X'd. I'm trying to run away, but you can't run away.
Yeah, let's talk about what really happened to make it so one-sided so we can try to figure out what's going to happen in the second game, because you mentioned with the Ursa, for example. You're like, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Ursa unless this really juicy scenario comes along where they're able to snowball it, they're able to hit those rush timings like you just mentioned as well. What allowed them to do that, though? Was it Execration playing out of their mind in the laning phase, or do you think it comes to problems in the draft or problems in execution on the side of Secret?
Well, I think it was the fact that bottom lane, after the first 3 creep waves, was Ursa favored, and I just don't think that can happen. Ursa's level 1 and 2 are so bad. Like, level 3 becomes pretty strong, but level 1 and 2, he's not supposed to be winning the lane. And he was number 1 CS in the entire game. Mm-hmm. And then Yapsor leaves the lane to help mid around 4 minutes, which totally makes sense. But then he gets the EMP mana burn from the Invoker onto the Kunkka, so he can't boat him. But then you get the X into a 5-second arrow, or whatever, max duration arrow, and suddenly you've got 2 lanes that are just done. And you can't lose 2 lanes that early on in the game.
This is really bad for Secret, though. I was starting to think about what the rest of the day looks like as far as, progressing out of Wildcard. If they lose this, really, really long road to try to get out of that. I'm not even sure if it's possible. I need to actually crunch the numbers. I'll do that during this game to try to figure out. I'm not going to crunch the numbers.
You're going to ask somebody else.
I'm literally going to go through. I'm going to go through tweets and figure it out. But that will be something that we double check because it starts to get out of reach very quickly. Definitely do not want to drop this game. And one of the things that we actually heard the casters mention is Hoodwink and not wanting to see that. Do you feel the same way, Tsunami?
Yeah, ironically, I feel like Secret would do better in this BO2 type setup with Puppey as a captain, known for his stubbornness, which if he likes something, he's going to keep doing it. But in a BO2 situation, there's no let's just give it one more game to see if I really find potential in it. Here, it's like, okay, Hoodwink did not work out in game number 1. It gave them success in some earlier series, but I don't think the hero is quite deep enough to warrant first phase potential. And so I'm not really discouraged. Secret is not the type of team that gets rattled. They usually beat themselves whenever they're losing. And so I think that they're going to bounce back in game number 2. But if they don't, it is definitely very good.
It's funny. You just talk about their style as a squad. It's not really a best of 2 style. It's very, very tailored to being in the typical best of 3 scenario or having more games to actually work with, figure it out, adapt on the fly inside of a series. Now, when you're in the scenario where you can't hold down the W, you really have to put a lot of pressure on the rest of the day. Can't lose here. They need to make sure that they at least win the second game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a similar story for the second game one way or the other, because you guys talked about the Secret game plan traditionally has been snowballing the lanes and Execration. We talked about how not only did they get off to a good start, but man, did they hit the ground running. The Kunkka invading the stacks, those were perfectly executed. The ward and he just arrowed Matu while he was farming and used the boat to even not only just kill the Sven, but also kill the stack. That's efficiency, if you ask me. But just everything around the map, there's no escaping. I think Execration really proved that they can keep the pace of the game that is required to continuously shut down a tier 1 team. And that shows a lot of promise. And I'm not like, you can't let them have this early lead again. You cannot let them have that if you're Secret.
So many times when there's like a skill differential, the better teams, like 2 years ago Secret versus probably 2 years ago Execration, would be like, they'll probably mess up a high ground push. We can just sit tight. They're going to make a mistake at some point. But we had talked about this yesterday, that the gap between like tier 1 and tier 2 is not nearly as prominent as it once was. Everyone knows what to do for the most part. There are like micro movements that you can improve that really separate S tier from A tier.
Usually like the approach to how you do exactly what you're doing.
Like the blueprint is there and everyone knows how to follow it. And there's not really going to be as many slip-ups these days. So Execration are able to get an early game lead and they're able to maintain it and not make any dramatic mistakes. They're like, oh god, we went from 15k to 4k and now it's 4k to 1k net worth advantage for the enemy team. Those things are not as frequent as they once were like 2 years ago.
I keep coming back to this tweet from yesterday that Loda tweeted as well. Just, we've watched Wildcard, and throughout the entire day yesterday, you could have taken Wildcard, made it its own event, and it felt like a tier 1 event in and of itself. The quality of games that we've seen has been incredibly high. I agree with everything that you said, and as we get into the second game, if you give any team that's in the Wildcard an opening, they are going to take advantage of it, and they're at least going to split. It doesn't matter what team it is. All of the wildcard teams have looked very good. Execration, we sat down and we said that they'd already impressed us throughout the first day yesterday. Now they're doing it here again. You always like to say, okay, did a team beat themselves, or was it the other team playing out of their minds? We got a little bit of both in game number 1. Now, as we get to game number 2, the question is, what are we going to see? Are we going to see any major changes in the draft from Secret? Execration looking primed to potentially grab a victory here to kick off the day, and then after that we kind of need to look at the schedule to figure out how important that really is going to be as well, Brian.
Yeah, just something about this entire analysis that he gave. Like, Rich is just such a professional, and I'm seeing him with the cat whiskers, and there's
some cognitive dissonance here.
Yes, exactly.
What a smart cat you are, Rich.
Yeah. I really it was an emotional morning putting on the eye makeup.
Yeah. Learned a little bit about yourself.
I like it. I really do. I like wearing eye makeup a lot.
I learned that at Omega League.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, you start. It's great. It's great. It's like Jared Leto was right about it. That guy's always wearing eye makeup. It's great. I feel like it really brings out the color of my eyes. Could we do it tighter close up potentially? No, I'm kidding. Please no. But yeah, no. I think that this is the least important thing that we'll talk about on the desk throughout the entirety of the tournament, but I'm really happy to be here right now talking about it for a moment. I'm blushing right now. This is the first time I think I've ever felt uncomfortable on a panel. Yeah, yeah, they didn't do that.
Gotta push new envelopes, open up new boxes.
No. Oh, they're actually doing it. Oh, no. No, I was kidding.
Please stop. The speed lines.
Wow. That is actually really fantastic. We could have used that for something much cooler, like a big moment in one of the series. But yeah, I think the orange really does bring out my eyes.
I'm just appreciating
the complementary colors. I see it. What can I let me see if I can give you a little bit more to really bring out the blue. Oh, there we go.
The music is perfect.
Beautiful.
All right, let's stop. Please, let's stop and never do this again. It made me feel uncomfortable. And speaking of uncomfortable, I imagine Secret would be uncomfortable right now after having
for many reasons that they were watching you.
They were watching the analyst. Yeah, let's just watch back what happened. What the fuck, Rich?
Maybe BSJ has some good analysis for why we didn't win this game number 1. Oh god, it's Cat Rich.
But yeah, I imagine this is a tough situation to be in. I mean, you come into day number 2, there aren't as many series that are going to be getting played out. And you already have 2 teams that already got their first victory. If they manage to get that second one, that gap is just going to get wider and wider. And all this, I think if we kept everything par for the course as of yesterday, you have IG and you have Nigma going on out of the wild card to get slotted into groups.
Nigma's still even because they're the one who got 2-0'd by IG. And so even though Nigma got their first 2-0, they're net 0 right now. So they're in the soup. I guess for Execration, if they manage to get this 2-0, this is probably their hardest 2-0 to get. I thought that they would do well against Chinese teams, and so them splitting, I was like, okay, that makes sense for me. And then Eastern Europe with Gambit, them splitting with Gambit made sense to me. I thought Europe might be the biggest difficulty for them because they haven't had that much experience playing European teams. Southeast Asian team that doesn't really go to LANs that often, and European Dota has the reputation it deserves, but once it gets figured out on LAN, then maybe it trickles down, and Fnatic got some experience, T1 got some experience.
Yeah, just based on that first game alone, I think they had a good idea of what approach fits really well against Secret, because EU's very fight heavy, right? But it's team fight heavy.
Exactly.
Not like low cooldown map movement skirmish stuff. And that's the way you kind of shut down these combos is you let them never be strong enough to be a combo. And that's like exactly what they did in game 1 for Execration. And I haven't seen an exact formula like that against the Chinese teams. So clearly they're adjusting their play a bit based on their opponent. So that I'm really impressed. We keep saying that we're happy with what they're doing, but now that I vocalize what they did in game 1, I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool.
Did it convince you on Ursa at all, out of curiosity? Because I know right before the Ursa got locked in, you brought up one scenario that you like the Ursa in, then you were saying in general you think that overhyped.
I still think Ursa's only good in that one scenario, but maybe that one scenario is more replicable than I thought it was.
Okay.
That's like the opinion I got from that game, because I didn't think they would be able to create it that game.
Easier caveat to deal with.
Yeah.
I'm a believer. I saw that Ursa was the only answer to 7.29C Medusa, and it was this build with the Diffusal.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I had the same reservations that you did, but no one builds Battle Fury anymore other than Anti-Mage. And so I thought, like, how are these other carries that were popular in an earlier patch to adapt? And Ursa, the Diffusal build fits really well for him because he gets kited easily. I feel like a lot of these other carries are kind of having to force themselves to build Diffusal because they're like, there's nothing else to really build. I don't want to go for Manta. SNY keeps getting nerfed over and over again. So Diffusal's the name of the game, unless you want to farm, in which Maelstrom's usually a good alternative, which is Faceless Void's go-to.
Yeah.
But I think that Ursa fits best with the best item of the patch right now for carries.
I can agree with that. Out of all the Diffusal builders right now, I would feel most confident with the Ursa.
Yeah.
I think the reason why Mag is actually seeing play is because it allows heroes like Faceless Void to buy Diffusal.
True.
We saw that yesterday as well. So I was theory crafting this last night. I was like,
How do you feel about PL? Do you like the Shard Octarine build at all?
I think it's the only build that makes that hero a hero.
Viable,
but I think he was always a very fragile hero. A lot of, like I mentioned, the situation that has to happen for Ursa to be successful. PL had to like not lose all of his buildings by 15-20 minutes.
Birds in the storms, like you just can't fight into them for the first 15 minutes. But then they made his laning stage so bad they nerfed him like 4 times, and so now he just loses every single lane matchup. So for PL, it's weird to say in a Diffusal patch that
exactly that's
good,
why.
But they also buffed Diffusal on non-illusion heroes,
right?
And then
better on heroes, worse on illusions. Yeah.
Yeah, they pretty much said screw you. They gave PL the remember when they reworked Ethereal Blade to make it so it was worse on Morphling but better on everyone else.
Exactly.
They kind of did that to PL when it came to Diffusal. So
it used to be pure anti-multiplier, and now it's like primary attribute multiplier on E-Blade.
Yeah. No, what they did was they made the base damage. They did that, but then they also made the base damage higher and the stat multiplier less. So then it's like, okay, having 300 agility on Morphling is just not as great anymore. Yeah, that's crazy when you backtrack through all the patches of like what little changes here and there have led us to this moment, and seeing an Ursa with a Diffusal run over the game with 2 Roshes. The Ag Shard itself makes a huge difference. The fact that you get on the second Rosh, because out of all the heroes that never want to buy it but love having it
and are able to take it back quickly.
Yeah, Ursa's that I'm pretty sure if they were to remove Ag Shard from the second Rosh, people would stop picking Ursa.
It's interesting. I guess TA would be the second most viable, but she doesn't really care that much about the Shard.
Her Shard's pretty good, though.
It's good, though.
It's not nearly as game-breaking as Ursa's. The fact that, like, what I see in this game is that Ursa will Earthshock on top of people. The Ag Shard, just to make sure, it gives you a second and a half of enrage after you Earthshock. you Earthshock on top of people, and then Sven's like, no, don't kill my hoodwink, and then the stun lasts for, 0.8 seconds or whatever.
The Broker will tornado, don't kill my Sven, and he just sucks back down immediately. Yeah, I'm preaching the gospel of Ursa. Maybe you'll slowly become a believer. Who's your favorite carry of the patch then?
Faceless Void.
Okay.
It was Faceless Void, and then when you say favorite, you mean who you think's the best?
Yeah, who's
if
the
I
top
say favorite, it's definitely not Dusa, but I thought she was the best last patch.
Yeah, and I see for sure.
I think Faceless Void, Wraith King, and Dusa are the three that really stand out to me.
Okay.
We pretty much see Medusa Wraith King banned second round 80 to 90% of games. That's what I'm seeing. At least we saw it even game 1 here, and we'll probably see it in the game 2 draft. That is.
Along with the
soon.
first phase Broodmother Nyx Assassin bans. Those are mandatory.
Nyx is an interesting one. Surprised about that. I know it was really popular in China, but I watched the entire DPC.
What? We're here.
And EU just didn't care much about it as we continue to see it banned again.
Okay. First phase, of course, the Templar Assassin Nyx, Brood Timber, and Secret Pickup Enchantress, which I'm much happier with than Hoodwink. I think Enchantress can fit into way more matchups and is way stronger, in my opinion, than Hoodwink.
Did she get nerfed in 7.29D?
No, she didn't get touched. And people were suspicious about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so surprised because Liquid really Taiga popularized her as a 4 position.
A damage dealing 4 position.
Yes, a damage dealing 4 position that the entire premise of her, so she does damage, but she also is a hero that can run anywhere on the map with pipe, treads, and a solar, and you're just like, well, we can't go on this person.
You're never afraid.
That doesn't die. He goes double Fluffy Hat, and even a Dragonlance sometimes. And the whole idea is this the power of having a mobile ward is pretty insane. Also a ward that will probably kill you if you don't do anything about it.
And that's not even factoring in her creep. If she gets a creep, then she has 2 mobile wards. Yes. She puts one elsewhere on the map. She's split pushing. She's one of my favorite heroes of the past.
Information game. I think Enchantress is an incredibly high skill cap hero, and I love seeing how people do it.
Yeah.
Because it's the cool thing. I was playing offlane maybe about a year ago, and it was a Nature's Prophet patch and an Enchantress offlane patch, and I realized that these heroes, the reason why I never played them well was they take this very unique mindset. It's not about doing anything specifically correct, it's about never being out of position.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. You have to constantly be in the right part of the map pressuring, and eventually the opponent can't deal with you anymore. You have a bunch of free summons, very efficient trading, and eventually they're going to have to dedicate their resources to something else, and you're going to kill them, or you're going to take their towers. And so I always like to hit power spikes. I'm one of those guys. Get that BKB, get that Blink Dagger, go for a big fight. But Enchantress, I consider it very high skill, because if you're not constantly doing that, eventually the opponent will hit their timings better than you do, and then you're just a creep.
That's why I feel like Invis heroes fell off big time, because Invis heroes, their whole thing was I can get information very easily.
Yeah.
But they're also dedicating their own time to not doing anything other than getting vision and stuff like that. Whereas these summon heroes, these heroes are difficult to kill. It's a secondary factor for them.
Yeah, Baden kind of went up in the difficult to kill ward category. Yep, there's the Wraith King ban.
And Grimstroke Doom, a classic Southeast Asian combo, double Doom. And now who is Mag going to be empowering? Can't empower Void, can't empower Ursa. Is
probably
that Arc ban next to Ursa?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably Jug based on the fact that they banned Void Morphling.
Jug.
Surprised that Execration is leaving it?
Or PA.
Wait, what's that ban? Is that Arc Warden?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I think it's Arc Warden.
I definitely haven't seen that one yet.
I can't imagine any hero has a big
why
face.
Arc? Yeah, that was the question I was going to ask. It was why Arc Warden here? What do you think is going to
power that Arc Warden? Maybe they've done it to him in a scrim. It really could be that simple.
If they want maybe a Drow Ranger on Execration or Medusa.
Terrorblade, maybe?
Terrorblade, yeah. So one of these ranged carries.
I feel like based on Secret's bans, they're just going to pick Jug.
Why do you prefer Jug over PA?
I guess those bans would be... PA against Doom is a yikes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that. The laning matchup's mediocre because Doom has 5 armor now.
That's true.
And then he heavily benefits from the stick charges. It's really difficult for PA to enter fights ever. Jug, on the other hand, you can doom him, but if he's got a healing ward or spin-off, he's probably going to be able to disengage, and he also healing wards his teammates. So maybe I'm just oversimplifying this. On paper, it just seems really nice.
Or if they want to go for full-on cleave, I guess they could go for the Sven again. Although Doom does dispel, so the Warcry kind of loses some efficacy.
So they were thinking, Secret took, I think, a minute and a half of their reserve time to come up with that DK ban. So I think that was largely due to the fact that they were debating and deliberating what they were going to pick third. There's a lot of different options. I think they were either going to pick the carry there and then save the mid for last, or vice versa. Looks like they chose the...
And the DK ban is just to protect that puck pick, right?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, because they were thinking about what they had to pick, that ban had to cater to that. So you notice how they immediately picked right after they banned.
Yeah,
they burned a lot of reserve time on that. Big decision.
It couldn't come back to bite them.
How would it come back to bite them?
Just in case if Execration throws a curveball in the draft and Team Secret's now down to the last pick and they're not sure, you know?
Which I think is a very real possibility, because you don't ban Arc Warden unless you have a curveball up your sleeve. So Execration may be planning something a little bit off the wall. And even though you protect the puck in the mid lane with the DK ban, the puck still has to be pretty careful now that there's a Lion on the side of Execration.
I feel like Ricky would be kind of cool here for Execration. I think it's a really nice Ricky game.
Yeah, great pairing with the Grimstroke in lane. And
nice against the puck, the Cloud against the Mag. It's really hard to lock you down with the lockdown they have.
10 seconds remaining.
They have decent wave clear with the Doom and the Grimstroke, but they just go for the boring route. Lifestealer. He's nice. I think it's a good pick. It's less about the lane, more so about the ease of execution of the game. You have this Doom hero that's going to run in for you, and Lifestealer is so good at enabling the guys that run in for you, because you never want to go on them, because Lifestealer will join the fray. He'll pop that rage, spend the 6 seconds doing as much damage as he can. You can't hit the Lifestealer because he's raged, and then the other person that you're forced to target, which is this Doom, suddenly gets this burst of health from Infest. So you really want that like crime that you're going to run into the fight with, and
it may be easier to hit the Lifestealer in rage because at least you have a Spell Immune Piercing disable with RP, and maybe Puck gets a Coil Ag Scepter.
You have like no damage though, is the problem.
With Empower though, Empower plus the Jug that you were talking about, which is still available, PA gets banned out, Slark gets banned out, so yeah, the Jug is still in the pool.
Yeah, it is. So Team Secret has overall last pick. Is there anything other than Jug? It's not the greatest Troll Warlord game. It'd be okay though. Like, I'd be okay with Troll Warlord. Thinking they need heavy single target physical damage.
Terrorblade.
Turn to pick.
Okay. I do like Terrorblade a bit more because of the bristle, but not against the Lion.
Yeah, especially if he gets that shard.
Yeah, the mana drain against the illusions is just so... It just slows down your farm a lot.
I do like this Bristleback a lot, though. Doesn't really have to deal. It isn't really worried about Puck. It doesn't provide very much lockdown, though. So this Lion has his work cut out for him.
Oh, they're going Monkey King, I think. This is Secret. They're going to pick Monkey King.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought that's a dead hero.
Yeah. Do you think that this is a good game for the Monkey King?
It's Jug or Monkey King. I think it's really nice against all three cores of Execration.
Good call.
Great call.
Yeah. I was concerned about the Lion, but I was like, you need a hero that capitalizes on sustained, long, drawn-out fights and just gets free damage. You actually need free damage because they need a lot of damage. You're dealing with a Lifestealer, a Bristleback, a Doom. There's so much raw HP.
Free damage from the Jingu?
Yeah, I'm talking about just by hitting you multiple times.
Yeah.
Like, notice how they ban out the Ursas, the Slarks already. PA just kind of dumps out damage anyway, so.
Well, let's think about what the path to victory looks like for both of these teams, because keep in mind, folks, if you're just tuning in right now, this is the wild card. We're trying to figure out the two teams that are going to make it through to tomorrow. We're going to be getting rid of 4 squads by the end of the day today, even if it does go to tiebreakers. And right now, Secret just lost an important first game up against Execration. Execration is trying to keep this upset going. So what does the path to victory actually look like for Execration? How can they keep the upset alive? 5.
Same thing as the first game, honestly. I think that as long as they step on the gas, then this puck is never really going to be able to split people apart, get ganks, because everyone's just going to be grouped up all the time. Monkey King, great in pickoff situations, but if he has to deal with a Doom and never gets Wukong's command off, then he's kind of paralyzed. But I am more encouraged with Secret's draft this time.
Well, last time, Brian, you were looking at the Ursa. You were like, okay, this Ursa is what needs to snowball. Is there something in particular that you're looking for to snowball this time around for Execration?
Yeah, I think the recipe is very different because you have very elusive cores in the Puck and the Monkey King, and if you're stuck chasing them around with the draft you have, Doom, Lifestealer, Bristle, lacks mobility at all, you're going to have some issues. But if you're allowed to just walk at them and kind of corral them into their side of the map by virtue of simply ramming it down their throats and not actually having to kill them, but just pushing them back into their side of the map, that's the recipe for Execration to win this game. I think it falls heavily on the Bristle getting a couple early Ancient stacks and him being the catalyst for making that happen.
Completely recipe to actually pull this one down. It's time to see how dynamic Execration can actually be.
Prepare for battle. Prepare for battle.
In my secret game.
Unbelievable we're seeing! What
And here with Cinderin, Execration looked god tier in game number 1. What do you think of their draft? It looks like a very, very tanky draft at the very, and they have a lot of combos with Grimstroke.
Yeah, so they follow their. It's really obvious to me right now that that is the ideology this team works with. They work with combos, right? They have 3 Grimstroke Inkswell carriers. They have Soulbind with Doom, Finger of Death, Hex, and Earthspike, and Double Goo.
And open wounds once the shard comes online.
Absolutely.
Let's not forget.
The difference here, the primary difference I see for them this time around compared to last game Execration, as I think the logos on the top are incorrect, so let's just make sure we talk about the right teams, right? So Execration are in the dire right now, even though the logos do show Secret there. They have much more limited catch than last game, where they were playing with the Kunkan Mars for the very easy picks. This time around, the only real catch they have is Lion with a dagger or Doom with a dagger, so they need to pay for their catch, and this time they're also going to lose the first blood.
That's right.
To Nisha.
I mean, after last game, he's going to be very happy with this. I mean, again,
he also has a better matchup.
Yeah, it was not a good matchup to begin with, and this will help him out quite a bit.
Yeah. So better matchup, First Blood Gold. I think it's a 2-for-2 rune exchange, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, Secret even got 3 runes, so great advantage for them from the start. Yeah, I think after seeing what happened last game, I like it better what Secret have this time around, strictly for the fact that their laning stage should be easier to deal with. They have the Monkey King into Doom matchup, which is good. Puck versus Bristle, I think, is largely going to be a draw, and the top lane with Magnus and Snapfire should also be able to hold their own. So I think this time around Secret will not be down 2k gold minute 5. More than likely it'll just be a wash. And that's kind of what they need, right? They need to be able to enter the game so that they can execute the fights, because this team is exceptionally good at playing mid-late game team fights, but there's only so much you can do if the enemy team literally has 2 or 3 catches and just destroyed you in all lanes. This time around, that is definitely not going to be the case. Lion being bullied away by Puppy at bottom.
So what do you think of Bristle this game as a whole? Because the Monkey King last pick, BSJ called it, it's good against like melee heroes in general, like the Lifestealers and Dooms of the world, but Bristleback, it feels like it's a little different, right? They don't really have a true counter. They have no inherent breaks. Like, you'd have to get a silver edge, essentially.
He's definitely hard to deal with, but he does suffer against Diffusal Blade, and Monkey King likes buying that, especially when he's playing with Magnus. Get a second kill now on the line. Puppy's Enchantress is really, really damn good, and it's one of the worst... I want to say it's one of the worst support matchups in lane for Lion. The heroes you don't want to play against are the ones that can just bully you relentlessly, so you don't get to pull, you don't get to cast spells in lane. Enchantress just beats you at everything. If she gets a creep, you can't lane. You have nothing that's good against the creep. You can stun and run, right? And in terms of overall lane trading, Enchantress is stronger. She has better stats overall. She has a very strong slow for your carry to connect with. And she's now going to come in here with a Mind Stealer. So going to start mono draining Nico here.
Yeah, it's such an annoying creep to deal with.
Yep.
Nico, level 3 right now. Probably still only level 1. Actually just ticks up to 2 there, as with the tomato being eaten by Nico.
He could have chosen to eat the Might Stealer.
Yeah, true.
But ends up taking the big creep away from Puppey here.
Yeah, and then on Secret's side, if you look at, towards the mid to late game, they have a lot of team fight. You got this coil that can set up a lot of good RPs. Obviously, the Snapfire ult combos with that really well, and Monkey King is with it. Like, they have this combo potential as well. I think it just depends on how good of a start they get off to. I mean, in terms of initiation, who would you want to be? Because I was mentioning this pre-draft, or during the draft, that Execration side, Lifesteal is typically here that wants to be inside somebody that initiates it, which means you have to go Blink on Doom, I assume.
Yeah,
which maybe not the most reliable thing.
Yep. I will generally favor the team that has puck for initiation because it's just so easy, right? You have a hero that's mobile and has a catch. And Monkey King can also work as an initiation a lot of the time, actually, in the right positions on the map. Matu.
Yeah, Jingu will proc as well for the Boundless Strike, and Matu gets yet another kill in this lane. Puppey has one, and Matu the other. So, a much different start from Secret. That is for sure here.
They're not going to get run over this game. I'll call it already. There's like no way at this point that Execration...
Very bold.
Very bold call. You can come up to a good laning phase and then absolutely fall apart mid-game, right? It just seems unlikely. Secret have good team fight. They have the catch from Puck. They have Mortimer Kisses. They have an Empower carry that got off to a good start. So everything is set up nicely for them to be competitive in this game. That doesn't necessarily mean that I flat out just favor them later. I think a lot of it comes down to the dagger timings. Because Execration will struggle to enter fights correctly until they have Dagger on Doom and maybe Lion. But once those are on Lion,
Lion Dagger
is
his third death of the game. Looks like Puppey will take that for himself.
I think so. It's very tempting for Lion to go and try to contest the pull, right? You don't want to let the enemy support pull the safe gank. In this game, you have to settle. You just can't do it. Right. Enchantress has a really strong slow, and Monkey King can connect with Primal Spring. So no matter where you are in the jungle, you're dead. It's just inaccessible. Doom has to suffer. And Lion can maybe rotate top to try to find kills there and give Lifesteal a good start. He could maybe gank mid if he has Hex. These options are available to him. Yeah, bottom lane is just off limits right now, and it looks like now he's given up. He's like, okay, you know what, impossible. He's gonna go stack camps, and I like this. He's identifying that this is just overbought.
Yeah,
completely over.
At the very least for Execration, Palace on the Lifestealer is farming relatively well. Basically, well, aside from denies, basically even with the Monkey King on the other side. So, what do you think of Lifestealer in this specific game? Because as Nico again, it might pop. Jingu's going to stack up again. I believe he has Boundless Strike as well. So, I feel like he just has to go jungle or something. I don't know what you can do in this lane anymore.
They are in so much trouble bottom. Who can you even put there? Like, maybe you could swap Doom and Bristle at this point, because Bristle has the level advantage, so he can hold his own bottom. He has a couple of points, Bristle back, he can stand there against this harassment. Doom just can't return bot. I think it's just a death sentence. This lane is just uninhabitable by anyone else than Bristle. So I don't think they should even try to do it. If he goes down there, he's just gonna die again.
Yeah, he's walking down there.
I think this is a really overlooked part of Enchantress. Like, obviously at a pro level, the players know and use Enchant this way, but it's like the best slow in the game. It's crazy good. Level 2 slow, 4.5 seconds slow.
Yep.
For 55%. And on top of that, Enchantress has the damage, and she has the creep, right? But she doesn't even need a creep to kill Doom. She had it that time. I don't think it was necessary.
It was not necessary. Yeah. I mean, now that Monkey King is off to such a good start, he could probably just solo, honestly.
And you do hear people usually focus on, Enchantress's laning stage, what makes it so good is that she takes a creep with Enchant and then she bullies, right? And while that is true, the transition of being able to find the kills just by virtue of that spell being as strong as it is when hero targeted just makes it all that much better.
Yeah, mid lane we have the first coil of the game and a TP from Matu, and Yapsor transitioned over as well. So another big kill for Secret is this just the complete opposite of last game? Like, Secret have just woken up. They just needed a game to warm up or something. But Execration, I like their lineup. It's just, they seem a little stubborn to just continue down these. I mean, obviously the Bristle Dag's the first death, but the Doom specifically is, we see some jungle stacks taken now from Secret.
I think you have to get the idea to put Bristle bot. I just don't see better solutions right now. Everyone else is going to...
Well, I mean, the only lane for Execration now is Lifestealer. He's having a good game.
Yeah.
And back to my original question, what do you think of Lifestealer in this specific game? Because the RP goes through Rage. Obviously, he's traditionally picked against the Enchantress type here once the Untouchable comes up, but I mean, there's only one strength hero, so he's not really going to get that much damage from the passive, at least.
Yeah, he's all right because of how well he deals
Wow,
with
this
it.
is a big dive. All right, well, Lions that's going to be a trade for Puppy.
Forces a 3-man rotation, though. It's not that bad. Even if he has a killing spree, that's barely a loss. I will say, Lifestealer, in my experience, really sucks when he needs the team to thrive a bit. It's not the kind of hero that's just going to come online and
just win the game.
And win the game, right? Like, there needs to be something to play around because of how naturally kiteable and how much you can itemize against it. If the enemy team is winning, they can just start itemizing like 3-4 steps, right? And you just kite.
Right.
So it's a bit concerning for Execration that the kind of carry that they have in this game where the lanes are falling apart this much is Lifestealer. And I'm gonna keep coming back to the daggers. It really is the move that I see for them, but they're going to be so late because the dagger carriers both lost the lane terribly. But it really does feel like it is what you have to play for here.
Mata's going to pop his ult really early here. Nice coil as well onto the bristleback, and this is going to be a pretty easy kill for Secret if they can just finish him off. Cookies there as well. Doom is actually applied to Mata, but looks like he's perfectly fine. He can just turn the tables on to Nico now. His agenda is going to come up very shortly. Not even needed. It's a double kill for Nisha, and Execration just falling apart at the seams here. On 3 dead, they do get Matu finally. Some silver lining there as BD. Wow, the illusory orb just did like 75% of his HP.
Being level 3 lineman at 9 is... Yeah. That feels so bad.
Do you know from experience?
I've been there. It's one of those heroes where if the laning stage goes very poorly, you just feel awful until level 6. Like, they just don't. And that's definitely something we could criticize Execration for in this game compared to the last game where we loved their laning stage. I think Lion Doom is just an exceptionally greedy lane. It doesn't really offer much. It doesn't have a lot of damage, it doesn't have a lot of pressure, and the Monkey King pick arguably was also a stroke of genius, like a really, really good solution to the problems that they have. But I think there were other options too that could have held their own bottom, just not this well maybe.
Right, I mean, that's a 9-minute tier 1 mid. That opens up the map so much for Secret.
And they're 2k gold ahead against Doom.
Yeah, and now Magnus working on his Blink Dagger as Mata just continuing to be very active here. Zai with the skewer. Does have RP, will expend it. See Snapfire from the north coming as well. Just wants to get a little bit more XP. I mean, YapzOr's having a much better game this time around as well. I mean, 11-2 advantage. It's a 2k network lead, which isn't as much as last game for Execration, despite the kill discrepancy being so large right now.
But that really largely is down to the Devourer, right? Like, imagine if Doom didn't have this skill, his net worth right now would be 2,500.
That's a good point.
He's actually just...
I mean, I'm sure that the XP differential is probably enormous as well, right now.
It's got to be pretty big. I'm going to have a look. I can't find the button.
There, it's right. It's on the screen.
There it is.
There you go.
Okay, so that's... A lot of the times, XP and gold go relatively hand in hand in these earlier stages of the game. So if you want to look at it that way, then the Devourer has definitely accounted for at least 1,000 gold, maybe more.
Yeah, and I like that Secret is just continuing the pressure here. Has smoked up again, working their way towards bottom lane. Execration. I mean, they have pretty much everything. Doom not quite up for another 12 seconds as Puppy's getting chased now by Yoei. See the Snapfire ult from afar, but not able to catch the Lion since he's so close, but gets the Grimstroke instead. I mean, Lion doesn't really need many resources to take out at this point. YapzOr getting chased. Looks like he'll be the sacrificial lamb. It's going to cost 3 of Execration, and now the coil comes out into the Monkey King ult. Probably not even needed, but I mean, that's a 4-for-1, not even remotely close fight, and they defend the tier 1 bot.
Yeah, I think this is a really questionable play call from Execration just because they're 200 gold away from the Doom Blink, right? Like, I think your timing in the game now is Grimstroke level 6, so you have Soulbind, and you need a Doom Dagger. That is when you can do something. You Soulbind 2 heroes, you blink in and Doom them both with an Infested Lifestealer, or something similar, but Lifestealer hasn't skilled Infest yet, and man, their supports are just absolutely dumpsters. Neither support is level 6 minute 11:30. They're both level 5. Grim is barely level 5.
I'm guessing the tome is already used?
I think so.
By one of them, I assume?
Yeah,
I would hope.
I think Lion took it because he was like, hey, dude, I'm level 3.
Yeah.
And like, it's such a tough call to make because getting Soulbind here really feels like a potential comeback skill, but who wants to be level 3 Lion? Like, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing with this tome.
I mean, keep in mind with the standings right now in the wild card, if Execration continue to, you know, come to a deficit here as the game goes on, so you could take this victory, it's still just a draw for both teams. I don't think either of them will get top 2 if they just continue to draw.
Right. They would need to win their last. So Secret has 2 series after this, right? And Execration has 1. Because there would be 4 draws for Execration, and it would be 3 draws for Secret, I believe.
Right.
So there's definitely more space for Secret.
Here's the timing you were talking about. Blink Dagger on Nico. There's the Inkswell combination. They find the Magnus. That's going to be a nice easy kill for them with the Infest Bomb into the Tier 1 tower. I mean, this is the kind of stuff you're talking about. And in terms of like cooldowns, you didn't really have to use anything crazy, right? No. Doom is still up. Bristleback's ult is still up in case you're wondering, so they're very important.
Yes. Under attack.
Hard to even have a dot at the top, actually.
Well, it's just to show that you have it skilled, right?
I guess, true.
So Grim is closing in now on level 6. I really want to see him skill Soulbind on 6. In most games on Grim and Pro Dota, you actually don't do that. Just because at the time in the game that happens, it's rare that you find fights where Soulbind has really high impact versus having that little bit of extra stroke of fate damage to push waves, or having more points in Inkswell for more reliable stuns when you play low cooldown lineups. But in this game, it just
again with the Wukong's command balance strength to open it up on top of the coin. They just have all the easy setup to take out a Bristleback, who just isn't that tanky yet. He has a Vanguard, and that's pretty much it. As Palos has to use Rage, and looks like that'll be enough to get away, although Matu's continuing to chase. Finds Palos now. I believe Zai's coming in from underneath as well. And there's RP. Looks like the Phantom's Embrace is going to stop that for now, but they might not even need it. Palos continue to armlet toggle as they find the line on the backside. He's going to be RP perfectly timed, and Zai and company continue to snowball this game.
Greetings!
I like Matu's build of going Echo Saber. I thought he was going to rush Diffusal, but the Echo Saber has paid off big time, and he's not even getting Diffusal, as a matter of fact. Now he's just going S and Y. Just like he doesn't need the Diffusal in this game. I mean, at this point, he can probably buy whatever he wants as long as it works on the hero.
He can buy an Aether Lens, probably be okay, right?
Would not recommend that one.
Well, they're going to get
it built into Octarine now, so, you know, it's...
I mean, if you go for the Tree Dance build, you can just jump, like, the Shard makes it even easier.
Yep.
You know, one day.
An actual monkey build, just jumping from tree to tree, and that's all you do.
That's what he was built for, right? They're just making the slow transition. As we see some TPs, I believe that's going to be a smoke from Execration in all likelihood, as they have basically everything up. Like you said, Soulbind's still not skilled here for Grimstroke.
This play needs to work.
For sure.
If this play fails, they are almost out of it. Did he actually not skill? Oh, he did skill up. Okay, he got Soulbind just now. He got level 6. So
very nice.
I think the ideal way you do this is
It's actually inside Grimstroke. Interesting.
It's kind of challenging because you have to try to find two heroes close by. I think the Soulbind is a necessity to win the fight. So maybe what you can do is you can either bait the Bristle, get him jumped, and then find the Soulbind combo, or you have to sacrifice the Lion to get the fight started and he has buyback. Like, one of those two options are probably your best shot. The play has failed, they've retreated, and Secret realized that they have just made a move that didn't succeed, so they're going to make their own.
Yep, they have the counter smoke coming as Yapsor.
Good play from Yowie here.
Pop, and they're focusing on the Lion to start with. He's going to be a very, very fast kill.
You took that too far.
I'm sure they're just looking for enough. There's a buyback on the Lion. A lot of minus armor onto Yowie now as the Monkey King ult comes out. And again, he's so squishy.
This is not possible.
Yes, they've killed basically their whole team. They can roach whenever they want. And, well, BDZ is just going to stand here and resign to his fate. Understandable. An ultra kill for Nisha. That's a dieback on Lion.
Great skewer from Zai as well. It's just so hard, but you have to try for it, right? I think, again, this is the first fight that Execration took where I really think that was...
Invisibility!
It was the best choice they had. There's a couple of moments earlier in the game where I feel like it wasn't the best choice, like BDC's Death's bottom, the Doom going back down to bottom to die again. They've just given Secret so many advantages before, and now they're making the correct move, but it's just mounted against them. It kind of started in a way that made me hopeful for them, because Bristle broke the smoke, he got spotted, they do have a bit of information from their vision, but they just didn't get an opportunity for a two-man Soulbind into Doom. Secret with a good positioning, and Zai with a great skewer just made it super easy.
For Bristleback, there's just a threshold of items that you need before you can really feel online, and this Secret is just playing way too fast. He just hasn't enough time to farm yet. It's just a Sage and a Vanguard right now.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
But the Aegis is now on Mr. Matu, as he continues to farm. So he has the Echo Saber, Orb of Corrosion. Will be going for the full SNY this time into a Desolator, it looks like. I don't know if he's going to change his mind there. Maybe just wants to get this game over with as fast as possible with the minus armor to buildings.
What the hell?
He initiated and then ran away. Perhaps scared that somebody was close by.
I mean, he blink stomped the Ench and then he got the hell out of there. There was like, I don't think there was a play.
Yeah.
Puppy, by the way, rocking the massive healing build. He has Mech and Holy Locket.
Oh,
so
very nice.
And maxed out
Dire's
Nature's
top tower
Attendance.
is
So
under
his healing, if he doesn't get killed...
Wait, you need Shard, though, to cap it all off. That's the extra 3 wisps that just follow you everywhere.
I forgot what her Shard does.
Yeah.
Is it 3?
I've definitely never seen it before, actually. It's, I don't know, maybe it's okay.
Yeah. He's actually queued up.
Hell yeah.
You know, like, how much healing can I do? So
hell yeah.
That's obviously a really good build against Doom. And Bristle.
True.
These heroes do damage over time, but Enchantress can mitigate a lot of that with this build. And since Puffy probably feels like, if they go on me, my team gets a free fight. If they don't go on me, I'm literally going to run next to the core that gets doomed and just heal them for as much as possible. And Matu can heal himself as well by just attacking, because obviously the Jingu Master will not be broken by anything. So I actually really like this build from Ench this game. It's I'm not going to say it's super rare to see Ench go Mech Locket, but in
Shard
it's like the Shard is rare, and in this game there's just so much added benefit to
looks like he
taking a
bought
healing
something.
round.
He wasted a lot of gold now that could have been used to invest in 1 minute and 30 seconds.
He bought a cloak.
Unbelievable. That is unacceptable, Puppy. I'm gonna have to scold him. Well, actually, I would never talk down to Puppy. It's too scary.
Pretty hard to talk down to him.
He's huge. Well, if he's sitting down and you're standing up, you're basically eye level. So that is a tough one. But yeah, pretty cool. I mean, like, if this, let's just assume as well, we're gonna see Lion get dropped here. Doom onto Puppy. It's pretty fast, and there's some Puppy healing coming in from the side as well. BDZ did in fact use the finger, and the mech is gonna keep him alive even longer. Skewer away, Nico.
Look at that healing.
Yeah, he's just not taking any damage, it feels like. And I mean, this is kind of what happens when you're at this sort of a deficit. You just don't do damage. I mean, it's a level 1 Doom still.
Yeah. That was a nice showcase of the Locket mech against it, though.
Well, Snapfire ult with the Boundless Strike. And that looks to be probably enough. Is Yaoi just one more right click for Matu? No, make it 2. He actually missed there. All right, he's going deep. We're rethinking life decisions here, but I mean, if they can get this kill, this would be huge. Problem is, they've used Doom. He's dead. Bristle's super low.
Yapsar missed a lot of kisses there.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Don't know if he's an experienced kisser.
I'm not going to touch that one, Cinderin, but I appreciate the attempted alley-oop. I'll just let that go out of bounds.
Okay.
Okay?
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Just sail away, sail away. As... Now, what is Palace working on? So he's still working on the Deso. Has the Sage, of course, which we've been seeing still despite the nerfs. Yep, he's getting initiated on again, and even the RPUs, that will ensure the kill again for Matu. And they're going to find somebody else. Oh, the Bristleback wants to play. Yoei. He has the casual Sage. I don't think it'll save him this time around. Minus armor applied, and that is a double kill for Matu. As we are, it is the 20-minute points, and the most exciting part about this game is whether Puppy will get that shard or not. Very exciting stuff. Nice skewer behind the way. Nice skewer, triple kill. This is the slowest kill streak ever. And it's going to be, at the very least, a set of mid-racks. I mean, 30-4, not remotely. This is probably a bigger stomp than last game.
I was going to ask which game do you think was most one-sided, and I kind of feel like, yeah, this was a bigger stomp. Last game was 33 minutes, by the way, for Execration.
Yeah.
But Secret with the 21-minute barracks absolutely destroying all 3 lanes. Although they didn't destroy top, in fairness, but they held their own.
Yeah, I mean,
they destroyed the other 2 lanes harder than the sum of the 3 lanes last game.
All right, Aegis has expired, and Secret's going to respect this.
Gonna take it easy.
Lincoln Sphere, very nice, just for that Doom.
He's so farmed on puck.
I mean, he knows that he's not going to get any item like a halberd or anything like that to break the Lincolns because he's just so poor right now. Nisha trying to bait this out. He's going to get hook stomped though. Then they actually popped the Lincolns. It wasn't a surprise at all. This might be a very valuable kill for Execration. They'll find it with the Finger of Death, in fact.
I get it on Lion. Does he get dagger from that? Almost. 100 gold.
All right, almost.
All right, this is the start of the comeback.
Wait, is that Puppy shard? I believe those are 3 wisps. Hell yeah. Is he killable? As Matu gets a kill, not important. We're focusing on Enchantress, right?
Just soloing the Doom casually up here. He's going to get BKB in... Oh, wait, that's the Doom. When is Matu getting? He's getting... Is that Deso? Oh, he's only queued up. Yeah, it's this.
It was, yeah, he was working on it. I don't know if he changed, but
he didn't. He has it now.
All right, so Orbital Corrosion and Deso, SNY, Echo Saber. Yeah, he takes buildings fast.
And Empower. He hits so hard.
This is true. I mean, if this was a normal game where you're, like, let's say it was relatively even, how much would the build change here? Like, I'm assuming Ags would be something you pick up on Monkey King. It feels fairly standard.
Scotty is very good against both Lifesteal and Bristle,
Yep,
so I think that's something you could have considered. And maybe if the early game didn't snowball this hard, he might have considered the Diffusal Rain, because I still think that would have been good. But at this point, you wouldn't buy it anymore. I'm leaning Scotty, probably. And you don't, I don't know if you want BKB even in this game. Like, it doesn't counter the Doom. It's good against Lion and Grim, but I don't actually think you're going to die as long as you've got a lot of stats and an Enchantress covering you, and your team playing around you.
Yeah, I noticed Enchantress, you can't see what the HP regen is with those 3 wisps. It just shows her normal base regen.
Sure, maybe they don't even work.
It could be a bug. No one's ever bought it before.
Exactly, they haven't tested it.
Yeah, this is a beta test for Valve if they're watching. Nisha gonna be able to take out a courier there. And Nisha's actually building a Dagon. Always nice to see. It's actually not even that troll even item. Like, if Puck's having a pretty good game, I wouldn't say it's standard, but it's not super uncommon either.
Oh, Nico.
Yeah, Boundless Strike. Man, Munson does so much damage. I guess at 15k net.
Yay!
The celebratory kisses from Yapsor.
He's spitting on them. I love how happy Mortimer looks when he uses all. It's like, my turn. Yay.
I mean, he's getting rid of a lot of disgusting liquids from inside him. I've been there before. That's something that would feel really good for sure. And I think Secret's probably going to wait for the second rush, I would assume, if they're playing super disciplined. I mean, they don't need to, but I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, gonna get the respawn timer for us in 2 seconds. They obviously don't know that it is spawning in 1:26, so pretty much average.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon they're going to control the map until that, and then they're going to go for the killing blow.
Bottom tower is under attack.
And Execration, the play is the same for me. It's been the same for 10 minutes. I think you still have to execute this combo, but compared to the combos they've had to pull off in the past games of this tournament, this one is very, very hard. Not only because they're behind, but also because meeting the conditions of landing a Soulbind with a Grimstroke with very limited farm and getting a double Doom, and then getting other heroes on top is not an easy task. Right? They might find Zai.
Yeah, they get the hook stop off.
Something.
They finally get one. No finger used.
They can buy back Outpost here if they want.
All right, tell me about the meta with Line. You play a lot of Line. Do you finger there just for the stacks, or are you just saving it?
I think you save it. The stacks are relatively insignificant, especially like you have one stack, right? Like, what's it going to do? Stacks get interesting.
I mean, you get the HP talent potentially, right?
Right, but you're level 9 minute 25, so
that's true.
I think it's better to save it for the potential.
Silence. He's not going to get his best off. He has to buy back in the game. X-Will does connect. As Doom just trying to trot away here. BKB right now actually gets doomed himself. I believe it was a Lotus Orb Reflect or something like that. As we have the Doom still applying for Monster in the meantime, but he is fine just right-clicking, and Zai has come to the rescue with the RP, and they die back on the Life Stealer, and that's just GG.
Yeah. Damn!
Yeah, the Lotus Reflect was pretty clutch, although it's not really.
You know, what's pretty cool about this series is when you combine the KDs for both games, it was really even. I think Execration won by about this score as well.
Yeah.
It wasn't far off.
It was about 10 minutes longer, though.
So, draw is a fair result.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. In a 2-game series, it's not often you get 2 stomps, and each team has one of them. Right? Typically, it's like one team just overmatches the other.
Right.
Like, this is kind of weird territory, I feel like.
I think the most common one where there is a stomp in a 2-0 is that the first game is relatively close, and then the team that won the first game just runs with second game. Like, momentum, have a good idea of what they want to do and do better in game 2. But this time around, Secret just... If this was a best of 3, I would be really...
Of all of us. He just put draw on everything.
Wow.
Sometimes the meme answer is the right.
Yeah, I guess so.
Memeing is successful in a lot of areas of life.
Again, let's just wrap up this game. Execration got completely stomped this game. What was different? What was the main thing that was different?
Secret had the dominant lanes. It was similar to game 1, just for the other team. So Secret got ahead in 2 lanes very clearly, especially the bottom lane was an absolute beatdown. And Execration just couldn't really find moves because their lane that needed the daggers was the one that lost.
Right.
So all the tempo was just delayed by 10 minutes, and Secret just took the whole map.
Okay, well, Execration, yet another draw. Secret, yet another draw. Let's see what the panel has to say about yet another draw.
Yes, sir.